Shalom. I'd like to give an all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Shai, the belongs to the apostles, and elders of great millstone who rule well, who continue to teach us this truth. Right. This is part three of these the spirit of prophecy. All right, I'm gonna just get right to the scriptures. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their hand or in their foreheads. All right. And if you've been in my channel before, and if you've heard this scripture before, if you are a member of GMS, if you are someone who has listened to GMS, then you understand that what this is talking about is that micro C hip. All right. The so-called white man, all right, in his beast system, he's going to require what? He's going to require everyone to be micro C hipped. All right. And everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. All right. In order to what? In order to receive, in order to be able to buy and sell, in order for them to be able to operate in that economic society, in that community. All right. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right. And it says, verse 17, and that no man may buy or sell save he that have had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right. So you're not going to be able to buy or sell unless you have this mark. All right. If you don't have this mark, all right, you're not going to be able to. You're just not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to eat. You're not going to be able to work. All right. And it's going to give you vibes reminiscent to what? Reminiscent to the time when COVID was going on. All right. And these people didn't have these these vaccines. All right. And we're gonna get to an article about that. But one of the main, all right, one of the main objectives of the so-called white man in his New World Order, all right, is to what? Is to develop a social credit system. All right, that's the point of the RFID chip. It's all about control, and it's all about being able to consolidate power in such a way that any opposition that the so-called white man has in his kingdom, all right, can be pinpointed, it can be tracked, and the person can be dealt with accordingly. All right. Let me just finish this off here. It says, here is wisdom, let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600, score and 6. All right. And I have videos where I've broken this down. Chi Psi Sigma, which actually goes back to what? It goes back to an implantable or a stake in a palisade. All right. Which is giving you further clue that this device is actually going to be a micro C hip that's going to be implanted in your right hand or in your body in general. All right, so we're going to read a couple, we're going to read a quick couple paragraphs. We might even just do the, oh yeah, this has a great great graphic here. We're going to jump around here. It says, China's social credit system explained. What is it and how does it work? The social credit system is the China social credit system is a broad regulatory framework intended to report on the trustworthiness of individuals, corporations, and governmental agencies, entities across China. In this introduction, we explain what the China social credit system is, how it differs from financial credit ratings elsewhere, and how it impacts individuals and the companies operating within China. And you know that China, all right, is a communist country, all right? It's what you call an autocracy. So the people in China really don't have many rights, and anything that you may say can be used against you, all right, in a court of law when you're talking about the China Communist Party, all right, the CCP. It says key takeaways, and then we're going to go down to that infographic. It says a key takeaway. The goal of China's social credit system is to provide a holistic assessment of an individual or a company's trustworthiness, which we know is a lie. It's all about control. You talk about the CCP, all right, your credit rating or your social credit rating is going to go down. All right. It says the China social credit system, while still in development, is arguably an extension of an existing social ranking and ratings in China, which have existed for millennia, exactly, but they have never been in the digital age as they are now. All right. Not verse 3, bullet point 3, it says the consequences of a poor social credit score could be serious. It may affect travel prospect, employment, access to finance, and the ability to enter into contracts. On the other hand, a positive credit score could make a range of business transactions much easier. It is essential that any foreign business consolidating or establishing their presence in China seek a professional advice for managing a social credit score. This applies to both individual scores and corporate social credit scores. All right. So now we're going to go down to this infographic. I'm just going to hit a couple. We're going to hit a couple points here. Here you have a tier. It seems that 1300 is a maximum score that can be reached. All right. It says China's social credit system has been dubbed the most ambitious experiment in digital social control ever undertaken. The Chinese government planned to launch its social credit system nationally by 2020. All right. So now, how does it work? It says each citizen is expected to be given a social credit score that will increase or decrease depending on whether the subject's social behavior is acceptable. All right. So now we're going to look at some ways to increase your points. All right. It says committing a heroic act. All right. 600 is the lowest score. Committing a heroic act, having a good financial credit history, helping the poor, it's going to bring your scores up. All right. Praising the government on social media, donating blood, positively influencing one's neighbor. These are all things, taking care of elderly family members, engaging in charity work. These are all things that are going to bring it up. Traffic offenses, such as drunk driving, all right, they're going to drop it. Illegally protesting against the authorities, that's going to drop it. So any type of disagreement with the Chinese government, all right, it says posting anti-government messages on social media, it's going to drop it. Spreading rumors on the internet, it's going to drop it. Insincere apologies for crimes committed, it's going to drop your score even more. Participating in anything deemed to be a cult, cheating on online games. All right, these punishments can lead to denial of licenses, permits, and access to some social services, loss, access to credit, restricted access to public services. So this is what the so-called white man wants to establish on a global scale. All right. And this is the beginning of the so-called white man doing this here in America. All right. The FedNow system, the FedNow service. We're going to go through quickly. It says the Federal Reserve banks are developing the FedNow service to facilitate nationwide reach of instant payments by financial institutions. All right. So this Federal Reserve, this FedNow service is essentially going to replace Zelle, Cash App, Venmo. All right. And they're going to the government's going to be able to look at what transactions are being made. All right. There's going to be no more Cash App. No more, yo, Cash App me $20. I'll pay you back in cash. There's going to be none of that. All right. I mean, there is going to be some of that, but the government's going to have eyes on that, and they'll be able to what? They'll be able to see what type of maneuvers you're making with your money. All right. So the FedNow is it's essentially a precursor to what? To the establishment of a digital currency. It says reach of instant payment services by financial institutions, regardless of size or geographic location, around the clock, every day of the year, to financial institutions participating in the FedNow services. Businesses and individuals will be able to send and receive instant payments at any time of the day, and recipients will have full access to funds immediately, giving them greater flexibility to manage their money and make time-sensitive payments. Access will be provided through the Federal Reserve's FedLine network, which serves more than 10,000 financial institutions directly or through their agents. All right. So this is just the beginning of the establishment of a FedNow of a digital currency. And one of the things that is going on now is that actually in Nigeria they have the e-Naira. All right. And the e-Naira, let me just get this real quick here. Rest of the world, this is actually, I brought this article for this. It says in 2021, Nigeria became the first African country and second in the world to introduce a government-backed digital currency, the e-Naira. At the time of its launch, the governor of Nigeria's central bank said that the currency had drawn overwhelming interest and encouraging response. the government believed it would boost financial inclusion, improve the security of digital transactions, and enhance local and cross-border trade, among other benefits. Nearly 18 months on, however, the e-naira has failed to achieve any of those goals. Exactly. Because these people do not want that. They understand that's just the government trying to consolidate control. All right. But guess what? These small digital currencies eventually going to be replaced by what? By one global currency. Because the ultimate goal of the so-called white man is to establish that new world order. All right. Government wants to establish that new world order. And the only way he's going to be able to do that is by what? Is by consolidating the economics, all right, consolidating the social aspect of things through a social credit system, all right. And then by consolidating what? Consolidating all the territory, man. Consolidating all the territory. It's a one world, no borders. All right. This was just an interesting videos. I haven't found the one, this guy here saying government rationing water in Africa using our ID cards, LOL. What do you think happens if they protest government policy? No more water for you. That in order for you to access these clean water wells in Nigeria, you have to be using the e-naira, right? There is no cash option available. These are some of the things that the government, these are some of the steps the government is taking in order to make sure that you can you start using this what do you say, this currency. All right, and that's coming here to the United States slowly but surely. And the people are gonna buck up, but at the end, they're gonna fold, man. And guess what? After that digital currency is nice and sealed in the minds of the American people, that RFID chip is going to become even more attractive. All right. And if you take that RFID chip, you're going to be, you're done. You're going to be judged by the Lord. And your soul is going to be, your soul is going to be lost. You're going to be done. Your soul is going to be done. All right. So let's look at this video real quick. They're just they're just filling their water, they're excited. But that's the type of leverage that the so-called government is going to have on them. All right. And just like how the social credit system, the digital currency, we saw the way how swiftly the government can move with certain things. And I pulled this article from the archives on Google. And it's from September 2021. So this article is about a year and a half old, I'd say. More workers are facing mandatory COVID vaccination or no job. So that's going to be the first place. They're going to try to hit you in your pockets. It says, as more and more people return to the workplace following months of working from home, the question of one's vaccination status is becoming increasingly relevant, and an increasing number of cases of a condition of employment. All right. And I just pulled this article so you can see that this is exactly how fast and how effectively the government can implement something to be mandatory. All right. And how quickly. I mean, just think about how many people that got vaccinated as soon as this happened. All right. It says less leeways on jobs. The net closed in further on unvaccinated people last week with President Joe Biden warning that patience is wearing thin regarding the unvaccinated, particularly as U.S. COVID cases remain high as high infectious Delta variant spreads. As the highly infectious Delta variant spreads. In a significantly stricter tone, Biden outlined a plan last Thursday to boost vaccination rates nationwide, pressuring private employers to immunize their workforces, as well as mandating the shot for federal employees, contractors, and healthcare workers. So look at that. They were able to implement this. And on top of that, with this video here, I'm not going to play it, but look at the title. New York City begins enforcing vaccine mandate with clears vaccine passport. All right, which we know now. Matter of fact, let me just pull it up real quick. Because so you can see that the so-called white man he's devious, man. These are all just dry runs. All right. These are just all dry runs, man. You know, um, there's right here, March. New York City's COVID-19 vaccine passport program is set to expire amidst a countrywide wave of pandemic restriction rollbacks. All right. So that just goes to show you that this is just a test. This is just a dry run. All right. So this is just this is just a last precept. All right. This is Revelation chapter 20, verse 4, and it says, "And I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and the judgment was given unto them, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushai." Exactly. So these people, all right, these men that didn't fold, they didn't bend the knee, they didn't take none of this stuff. All right, they didn't take no max. All right, they didn't take no micro C hip. All right, they stood stiffly. All right. A lot of these men, what? It says, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushai. All right. So these men were beheaded. A lot of these men were going to be beheaded, man. Lord willing, I'm one of those men, beheaded or not. But who are what? Who are to become the first. All right. The first, the first inheritors of the kingdom of heaven. It says, and the word of Yahweh, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Yahushua HaMashiach 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again until 1,000 years were finished. And this is the first resurrection. All right. So, amen. That this is the price. All right. This is the price that we need to be willing to pay. All right. Death, being beheaded, being tortured. But guess what? It's going to be all the more worth it, man. That kingdom of heaven is going to be beautiful. It's going to be glorious. All right. So we just gotta pray to the Lord that He gives us that faith in that time, man. Because we're definitely gonna be tested. All right, just like how people were tested when when these mandates came out. Just like how the people of Nigeria are being tested. All right. So amen. I'd like to give in all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone who rule well, who continue to teach us this truth. And a salutations to Joachim out there doing the work of Yahweh Shem Yahushai sincerely. All right. And until next time, Shalom.